Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, Shloka 21. Kaha Veti Bhuman Bhagavan Para Atman Yoga Ishvara Utihi Bhavataha Trilokyam Kva Va Katam Va Kati Va Kada Iti Vistarayan Kridasi Yogamayam Koveti Bhuman Bhagavan Paratman Koveti Bhuman Bhagavan Paratman Yogeshvarotir Bhavatastrilokyam Yogeshvarotir Bhavatastrilokyam Kva va katam va kati va kadeti Kva va katam va kati va kadeti Vistarayan kridasi yogamayam Vistarayan kridasi yogamayam Koveti bhuman bhagavan paratman Yogeshvarotir bhavatastrilokyam Kva va katam va kati va kadeti Vistarayan kridasi yogamayam Koveti bhuman bhagavan paratman Yogeshvarotir bhavatastrilokyam Kva va katam va kati va kadeti Vistarayan kridasi yogamayam Koveti bhuman bhagavan paratman Koveti bhuman paratman Vistarayan kridasi yogamayam Yogeshvarotir bhavatastrilokyam Kva va katam va kati va kadeti Vistarayan kridasi yogamayam Kaha Mataji Kaha Who Veti knows Bhuman O Supreme Great One Bhagavan O Supreme Personality of Godhead Para Atman, O Supreme Soul, Yoga Ishvara, O Master of Mystic Power, Utihi, the pastimes, Bhavataha, of your Lordship, Trilokyam, in the three worlds, Kva, where, Va, or, Katam, how, Va, or, Kati, how many, Va, or, Kada, when, Iti, thus, Vistarayan, expanding, Kridasi, you play, Yogamayam, your spiritual energy. Transcendent translation purport by his disciples of his divine grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, this Stapakacharya. Translation. O Supreme Great One, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Super Soul, Master of all mystic power, your pastimes are taking place continuously in these three worlds, but who can estimate where, how, and when you are employing your spiritual energy and performing these innumerable pastimes? No one can understand the mystery of how your spiritual energy acts. Purport. Brahma previously stated that Lord Krishna incarnates among the demigods, human beings, animals, fish, and so on. This does not mean, however, that the Lord is degraded by his incarnations. As Brahma clarifies here, no conditioned soul can understand the transcendental nature of the Lord's activities, which he enacts through his spiritual potency. Although the Lord is Bhuman, the supremely great one, he is still Bhagavan, the supremely beautiful personality exhibiting pastimes of love in his own abode. At the same time, he is Paramatma, the all-pervading super soul, who witnesses and sanctions all the activities of conditioned souls. The Lord's multiple identity is explained by the term Yogeshwara. The absolute truth is the master of all mystic potencies. And although he is one and supreme, he manifests his greatness and opulence in many different ways. Such elevated spiritual matters can hardly be understood by foolish persons primitively identifying themselves with the insignificant material body. These conditioned souls, such as atheists, scientists, consider their own puffed up intelligence supreme, gullibility placing their firm faith in material illusion. They are captured by the modes of nature and driven far away from knowledge of God. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We are studying prayers of Brahma, who is not an ordinary person. Position of Brahma in this material world is supreme than all the conditioned souls in this material world. He is supreme. I mean, he's not supreme, but he seems to the conditioned soul to act like supreme because he creates everything. In Bhagavatam 2nd canto, if I remember, Prabhupada writes in a purport that just like a manager in a company, he looks to be very active doing everything as if like he's the owner. But we can see there is a person behind the manager who is the owner of the company. Just like we are going for college preaching nowadays, we see there is a principal, and behind the principal there is a management who is the owner or who is the controlling, chairman. But when you see the principal, he is the person who is doing everything, controlling the things, and we have to get permission from the principal. So this is how Brahma acts. He looks like he is the person who is creating everything. When we read from Shastras how Brahma creates, but he is secondary creator. The power for creation for Brahma comes from the Supreme Lord. So we can see that Brahma himself is very intelligent person, and then we see from this pastime, though he is supremely intelligent in material world comparing with all other living entities and demigods, he himself got bewildered by Krishna's potency, spiritual potency. It is said that Brahma's body is full of made of intelligence. So, though he may be very intelligent in this material world, supremely intelligent person, but when it comes to Krishna, he is not so intelligent. In front of Krishna, everybody is very small. Even Brahma, he has four heads completely made of intelligence, but in front of Krishna, he is nothing. So, now we know the story, but here now Brahma is apologizing or he is praying, he is repenting that how he mistook Krishna as an ordinary boy, and he is glorifying Krishna, he is praying to Krishna how he is supreme. So here the vision of Brahma, this is perfect vision because he is not like an ordinary soul. And to say in Bhagavatam says that there are 12 Mahajanas, and among 12 Mahajanas, Brahma, Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumara, Kapilo, Manu. So Swayambhu means Brahma. Brahma is also one of the Mahajanas. So his verdict or his vision, this is perfect vision. So he is seeing Krishna's pastimes and he is realizing how Krishna is wonderful, how Krishna's pastimes, this all are supreme. So he is praying, he is establishing how Krishna is supreme in this verse. That we can see throughout the Bhagavatam, from various prayers of different devotees, they explain how Krishna is supreme, and through their prayers we can learn the position of the Lord and the position of the conditioned soul and the jiva, and we can understand everything from their prayers. Because if you glorify Krishna, Krishna is not alone. Krishna is with his potencies, with his energies. So they explain everything very clearly. That's why we see here, previous verses also we saw Brahma was explaining or glorifying Krishna's achintya, this inconceivable potency of the Lord. And gradually now he started to glorify the incarnation or the expansions of the Lord, because that's what he saw when he wanted to take away all the calves. When he took away all the calves, he saw how Krishna expanded his through his spiritual potency, how he expanded as calves and cowherd boys. He expanded himself. So he saw that and he understood this is not ordinary person. He has spiritual potency. So that's what here Brahma is glorifying. So this is the process to understand Krishna or the Supreme Person through his devotees, through their prayers. So in Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada, in one of the purports, he writes that one can offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly, but if one repeats the prayers offered by great devotees like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, or if one follows in the footsteps of great personalities, one can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead very easily. For instance, we sometimes chant this mantra of Brahma Samhita, Chintamani Prakarasat Nusukalpa Vriksha. So this is the prayer offered by Brahma. So when we want to offer prayers to Krishna, if you follow the great acharyas, and this is the perfect system. The pure devotees never attempt to reach the Supreme Lord directly. The most important way to worship the Lord is to go through the disciplic succession of devotees. So this is the easiest way to glorify or to understand the Supreme Person, through his devotees. So here Brahma, he is pure devotee, he is Mahajana. So he knows what is the position of the Supreme Lord. So he is explaining here. Koveti Bhuman Bhagavan Paratman. So most of these words we regularly hear. Bhagavan. So Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhuman means of the Supreme Great One. And Paratman, O Supreme Soul. And Yogeshwara. We see this term Yogeshwara repeatedly in Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita, the last verse, and Sanjaya, when he glorifies, the last verse says he is master of all mystic powers, Yogeshwara. So the same, the words are being used in this verse, we can see. And the pastimes, the Brahma is explaining, who can understand the potency, spiritual potency of the Lord, and who can judge Lord, whose pastimes are placed, happening continuously in three worlds. But who can estimate where, how, when you are employing your spiritual energy? And who can understand the spiritual energy of the Lord? Even to understand this material energy, it is impossible, it's inconceivable. In Brahma Samhita, we hear this verse. Pantastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo vayoratapi manaso manipungavaanam sopi astiyat prapatasimya vichintya tatve govindamadi brusham tamaham bhajami. So we can travel at the speed of mind, but we cannot even understand this material space. Then what about the spiritual world or the spiritual things? So this is inconceivable. So that's why here Brahma is saying, who can understand? Because Lord, how he is going to manifest, how he is enacting his pastimes, This is not ordinary things. This is not easily to be understood. So, uh, in the purport, it is explained. Previous shloka, Brahma was explaining the incarnation, how Krishna incarnates among the demigods, human beings, animals, fish, and so on. So it is said, this does not mean, however, that Lord is degraded by his incarnations, because many people they misunderstand, especially Mayavadis, they misunderstand Lord to be a material form. When he incarnates or when he comes to this material world, they think this is material form. They think, okay, Krishna's form, this is the form of sattva guna, goodness. And they think by comparing Lord's form as material, they offend the Lord. But from Bhagavatam and Shastras, we can see that Lord's form is not material, it is spiritual form. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha. And Krishna says that my appearance and pastimes and the activities, this is not mundane, this is divyam, means transcendental. But faithless non-believers like Mayavadis, impersonalists, they are envious of the Supreme Lord. They don't want to attribute, or they don't want to accept that a person can exist this inconceivable potency. So they are envious. That's why they say there cannot be a person who can have inconceivable potency. They don't want to accept, they want to avoid. But that's not the fact. But we see from Bhagavatam and Shastras that Brahma is the supreme intelligent person in this material world. He is glorifying Lord as Ishvara, Paramakrishna, Sachidananda Vigraha. Lord's name, pastimes, and his glories, these all are eternal and transcendental. This cannot be understood by this materialistic people or impersonalist. Because they want to understand everything through their material eyes and material senses and material intelligence. But Lord is not material, he is spiritual. So for one who is having this material vision, they cannot understand anything regarding the spiritual matters, because they see only this matter, this body. So they want to compare everything according to their vision. But Lord is not bound by our intelligence or our limited understanding. He is supreme. Only by his mercy we can understand his nature and his pastimes. Otherwise it's very difficult. No, not possible. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yasyasmi tattvataha. Only a devotee can understand. Nor karmis, nor jnanis, nor yogis. Krishna didn't say jnani mam abhijanati or yogi mam abhijanati. Krishna says Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Means only a devotee can understand the pastimes of the Lord completely. So we can see here, he says the pastimes are continuous. This is not material form. When Lord appears in the form of fish, or when he appears in the form of animals, this is not to be understood as a normal, common, any material form. This is transcendental form. These forms are existing eternally. This is to be understood, because this is not like our material form, appear and disappear, like one day we take birth and one day we die. Lord appears and the form is eternally there in spiritual world. This is not to be understood like a material form. We have the descriptions of Vaikuntha Lokas, where we see the Lord's form, each form has each planet, where the Lord resides eternally. So for the pastime sake, he comes, he appears in this material world, he performs pastimes, and these pastimes are happening continuously. It's not that when Vrindavan Krishna, when he ended his pastime and no more Krishna is there. No, he's enacting his pastime again, another universe. And we hear that, we see, now we can go and see, visit Vrindavan. This is not material. This is transcendental. Oh, but not everybody is able to see Krishna performing pastime there, because for one who is having the material vision cannot see. But we know that Vrindavan is not different from the original Vrindavan. Lord is still doing pastimes in his aprakata form. It's unmanifested. Pastimes are happening. So when you see with our material eyes, we cannot understand. But when you have the knowledge, transcendental knowledge from the acharyas, then we can see that how Krishna is doing pastimes, how we can understand. Even when Krishna was present in this material world, when he was enacting pastime, when he was visible to everyone, not everybody understood him completely. Like Shishupala and demons like Duryodhana, they were trying to criticize the Lord. This Shishupala, when he was criticizing, he never accepted Krishna as supreme. He thought he's just a coward boy or some normal person. He didn't understand that Krishna was supreme. So even though Krishna is there in front of our eyes, when you don't have that transcendental knowledge, then they will not agree that Krishna is supreme. So with material eyes, if you try to understand Krishna, it is not possible. And so for one who has the eye of premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena, santa sadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti. Brahma says that one who has smeared his eye with the love of God, then he can understand the nature and the pastimes of Krishna. Otherwise, it's not possible. So here we see that the words which are used here as Bhagavan or Paramatma, this is clearly explaining the position of the Lord. No conditioned soul can understand the transcendental nature of the Lord's activity which he enacts through his spiritual potency. Although the Lord is Bhuman, the supremely great one, his spiritual potency, although still Bhagavan, the supremely beautiful personality exhibiting pastimes of love in his own abode. At the same time, he is Paramatma. See, the two things are explained. He is Bhagavan, means he is having his personal form, enacting his loving pastime in his spiritual world. But at the same time, he is Paramatma, means all-pervading super soul, who witnesses and sanctions all the activities of conditioned souls. The Supreme Lord's multiple identities explained by term Yogeshwara. And his potencies or his energies is explained as Yogeshwara. The absolute truth is the master of all mystic potency, and although he is one and supreme, he manifests his greatness, opulence in many different ways. Basically, you can understand this Bhagavatam first canto, which explains Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvamajnanam avveya brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. So absolute truth can be understood in three levels. The preliminary stage is one understands Supreme Person as impersonal or Brahman. But this is basic understanding, preliminary understanding. This is not complete understanding of the Supreme. And most of the people nowadays we see, they are mostly atheist, because Kali Yuga means people are atheist basically, they are not believers. So they don't accept any person as supreme. Though they accept there is some supreme power, they don't accept he has a form. So they say we can speak with anyone in general. They say about God, especially when we go for book distribution, when we speak with people, when we preach Krishna is supreme, they don't accept immediately. They think, no, okay, Krishna is supreme, but there are other gods also. And ultimately their conclusion is impersonal. They think everything is one, what is the big difference? Everything is God, everything is light, everything is impersonal. Basically impersonal understanding everybody has got. And there are very few people who understand this nature of Paramatma, who is residing in heart. And there are even more very few people who understand Lord is a person, he is a supreme person. So that is the terms which are explained here as Yogeshwara. Yogeshwara means the absolute truth is master of all mystic potency. They understand the potency, but the person behind the potency is Krishna. That they don't agree. And Paramatma as super soul. And the supreme personality of God at Bhagavan, this is the complete understanding of the absolute truth. So here another thing is explained that Lord incarnates, means Lord comes to this material world to deliver the conditioned souls. So this is also another point which is not everybody accepts. Especially we see in Abrahamic religions, they don't accept that Lord has a form, and they don't accept that Lord comes to this material world. They are very much against this thing. When we say Lord incarnates, they never agree. They say, how come Lord, he is above the material world? How come he come to this filthy place? Why he has to come? What's the need he has to come? They don't accept this. But Gautam, and also from Bhagavad Gita, that Lord says that he appears, avajananti ma muda, but muda, one who is not intelligent, cannot understand. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrta mudoyam nabijanati. That we see from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am not revealed to this materialistic people. And Krishna says, I am covered by this yogamaya. I don't reveal to these rascals. Then demons cannot understand Krishna. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one of his in writings, he quotes this. He says this: Krishna's pastimes are not subject to mundane history or geography. Those who attempt to understand the Supreme Lord's transcendental activities with material logic or empirism will remain bewildered. Only through pure devotional service and the mercy of the Lord can one truly realize their eternal spiritual nature. Uh, So, this historians and all these people who are trying to discover the history and trace out Krishna's history, they are bewildered. They cannot understand what they can understand about Krishna. It's bewildering. When you want to understand Krishna, the only process is through pure devotional service. There is no other way. So, here, the purport also it is explained that such elevated spiritual matters can hardly be understood by foolish persons primitively identifying themselves with the insignificant material body. They can't understand spirit soul. First of all, they don't know who they are, and they are trying to understand the supreme person. These conditioned souls, such as atheist scientists, consider their own puffed up intelligence supreme. Scientists, they are very much puffed up of their own intelligence. But what is the value of their intelligence? How much they are intelligent? As we saw in Brahma Samhita, even material world cannot be understood completely. Then what about the spiritual world and the spiritual matters? So they are being captured by these modes of material nature and driven far away from the knowledge of God. So it's impossible for the scientists who are puffed up and with their own intelligence, understanding, trying to understand the supreme nature of the Lord. It is impossible. So the only process is to accept that we are tiny and accept that God is great. And when we read from Shastras, hear from the pure devotees, then Lord can be understood. Otherwise, it's not possible. The process is to hear from the pure devotees. In Bhagavatam it is said, Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrit saroja ase shrutekshita pato nanunata pumsam yad yad diyata urgaya vibhavayanti tattad vapu pranesi sadanugrahaya. The Lord's it is told that, my dear Lord, your devotees can see through the years by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed and you take your seat there. So the process of understanding God is Shrutekshitapato, means hearing from a bona fide person. So when we read Bhagavatam or when we hear from the devotees, that is the process by which we can understand the nature of God, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So only a devotee can understand Krishna. So devotee gives Krishna to everyone. So Srila Prabhupada, in his books, he has given the clear knowledge about God and the position of this jiva in this material world. He has explained everything so clearly. So when we try to understand Srila Prabhupada's books, when we hear from pure devotees, then we can understand the nature of God very easily. Otherwise, we will be going on doing research and trying to analyze different things, but it is not possible. And when we read Srila Prabhupada's books, we understand that we have to serve Krishna. When you serve Krishna, then we can understand. This is the way to understand the God. So, Srila Prabhupada, he is pure devotee. He has written the books in which he has clarified or he has given the perfect understanding about the absolute truth. And when people they read, they can get pure understanding, clear understanding of what is absolute truth is. And that we are seeing even in Western countries, those who have no idea, no understanding about the personality of Godhead, by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, they have changed their life. And they have understood Krishna is supreme and they are worshipping Krishna and they are becoming pure devotees. So this is the way by which we can understand Krishna, by studying Srila Prabhupada's books and following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. So this is the book marathon season. So when you more distribute books, then we can really give people the real understanding about God. And we can see many times Srila Prabhupada in his letters how much he is emphasizing book distribution, that just to keep some inspiration. I saw one quote today, I just want to read that. Srila Prabhupada is writing in one of his letters, I have tried it, any page you open, that is wonderful reading matter. My ambition is to spread these books far and wide all over the world, so that everyone shall read at least one of our books, and that will change his life. If only 1% of the world becomes devotees, that will change the world. See, Prabhupada wanted to change the world by distributing these books. And in fact, this is changing. Yesterday I was speaking with Dvijamani Prabhu. He was explaining book distribution in Russia experiences. So he explained that how one person became devotee by reading Srila Prabhupada books. He, uh, there was a person who was completely a drug addict. He purchased lots and lots of drug. He has kept inside his room, and for some or other reason, he was frustrated in life. And devotee knocks the door. He distributes the books, Sri Ishopanishad. He gives, and we know Ishopanishad how uh, deep subject it is, and he took the book. He's completely, he doesn't know he has no idea about anything spiritual. His life is completely dedicated to drugs. And he got the book somehow for some other reason, I don't know. He has taken the book and he has kept inside. And after a few days, police came and he got arrested because of this drug issues and all. He was selling and all these things. He got arrested. And then they took him into jail, and then they started to punish him with various punishments. He was basically frustrated completely. He was, completely becoming mad. And he was blabbering and speaking some nonsense, completely going crazy. And police thought he's not ordinary person. Maybe he's mentally ill. So we have to treat him in different cell. And they have put him in psychiatrist department. I know this is where people who are crazy, they are put inside. And eventually, after a few days, mother came to see the son, because mother wanted to help the son, and she came and she saw the condition was so bad. And by the arrangement of divine potency, somehow she was having the book inside her bag. She thought, okay, some books to read for my son inside the cell, what he will do. Anyway, he's doing nothing inside the jail, better let him read some books, maybe he will get enlightenment or something. And then she took the book Ishopanishad and gave to that person, his son. Then initially he thought, what is this book, what will I do with this? But by the divine arrangement, he started to read from first page Ishopanishad. And damn sure what will happen. He was completely amazed and he changed his life. And he called mother. Next time when she came, he told, bring some more books from this same author. I want to read these books. And then she was confused why this fellow is asking more books. And he took Bhagavad Gita and all other small books. And he started continuously reading for 2 years. He was reading Prabhupada book inside the jail. And he completely changed. And when he came out, he went to temple, he met devotees, and he became devotee, and still he is a devotee. Just imagine how one book of Prabhupada can change the life of people who was completely degraded. And this is not the only one story. We see from different devotees, we see all over the world that how the Prabhupada books, they are so powerful. But just by touching it, just by reading, they become devotees, they change their life. We see in Bhagavatam, the shloka says, Tadvag visargo janatag viplavo, esmin pratishlokam. This is revolutionary. When they come in contact with Bhagavatam, when they come in contact with Prabhupada books, when they read, immediately their life change. Their life has been changed. And all over the world we see many people, thousands of people, they are reading Srila Prabhupada books and they are being benefited. So this is the wonderful opportunity. Marathon, we can distribute books and we can preach. The more we give books, the more we can change the world. And by distributing books, when the people read, they become devotees. And they will not speak like puffed up intelligence. They will understand Krishna is supreme. Hare Krishna. Comments? No questions. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जाय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाय.